get ready and make love and stuff. I'm just saying.
Hey,
Trap
actually,
match.
I left the trap matches in the back.
See, y'all
Got that
Hey.
trap
already
match.
live. Hold on. Let me drop the link in the group chat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My brethrens, I must say it is a blessed day to once again get a chance to speak with you guys and definitely see you guys live. So on my end, I definitely
For
want
sure.
to say much love. I know we are live at this moment, so I definitely don't want us to have any dead air as we go. So I'll introduce myself at this moment.
Yeah, man. Introduce
Please,
yourself,
everybody
bro.
introduce themselves.
So Marcus Crowley by way of Jackson, Mississippi, born and raised. I like to call myself a city country gentleman, aka a little corporate thug. Definitely want to say my end is brought to you by Uncle Nearest, even though we don't have any sponsors at this moment in time. But
For
definitely,
sure.
definitely want to big up them during this time, and definitely saying to everybody out there, let's take this quarantine seriously. Enjoy the time with your family if you have family with you. During this time, remember self-care, positivity, positive thoughts. And I can talk forever. They'll tell you I'm a social cat. So I'm going to pass the mic on to my brother, man, Corey.
Good evening, everybody. Corey Brown here from Edwards, Mississippi. Um, I'm here for the fellowship. I think it is important that Black men vent. So I like the topic. So I think it's also important that you talk around the same men as well. So we don't talk to each other; it's frowned upon. So I think it's important that we communicate and help get through various situations.
Yeah, for Shiggy. Introduce myself. My name T. I'm from La, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Sponsored by Honey Jack. You know. I'm probably the most level-headed guy up in this chat, man. Let's just go ahead and be honest. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm just playing though. But yeah, man, I'm just glad to see y'all boys, man, and get some things off our chest, man. Because every day it ain't like this something we do every day. And Black men, we keep everything on the inside, so it's good to talk to people that you trust. So hey, and we putting it out there to the world, man, for the Black man. Toast up.
Amen, amen, amen.
Kevin Lawrence here from Belzona, Mississippi. Working with that Johnny Walker tonight.
For sure.
It's I'm probably the one that's been through the most out of everybody in here, especially in the last year and a half. But it feels good to be able to have a circle where you can vent and folks understand what you're going through. Maybe not all the way, but figuratively speaking. So, I'm just here to share with the world.
And my name is Brandon Ward. This is also known as Swift. I'm sponsored by Remy. I'm from Lake Village, Arkansas, the countryest of the country, and I'm here to make sure that Black men have a voice in what's going on to today's society. And I am going to kick this off. Black men have been dealing with trauma since the beginning of time, dealing with issues, so on and so forth, but we haven't had an outlet to really explain what we're going through and the solutions on a grand scale to articulate the solutions for Black men and what we go through. So I want to start this conversation off with how does Corona impact us as Black men? And what have we been going through from a trauma aspect? And how do we work through these issues? And how do we find solutions on a grand scale? Because you don't see it in the media, you don't see it taught in schools, you don't see it taught in the household, you don't see it impacted in church, so on and so forth. So how do we work through these issues that we're going through today, especially with the coronavirus going on right now? I'm gonna start Crowley. Start us off, Crowley. How do we work through these issues as Black men? Like the trauma that we've gone through so far in the past centuries, how do we go through these issues and work towards what we need to be as Black men?
Well, each situation, each event is different. Um, but at the same time, one thing we can say, we have overcome and survived each crisis, each situation, or each event, just depending on how you want to term it. Um, we are resilient, but at the same time, we have to learn to be vulnerable and express the hurt that we go through during these crises or situations, events. Um, I know at this moment in time, with the virus taking place, we have a lot of people, not just men, but black men, but a lot of people, period, just losing or being furloughed with their jobs and situations. But to go back to on topic, specifically black males who have to provide for their family, whether it be their wife, their kids, or they're staying with other family members. This is a trying time to whereas what are what's that next level? What do you turn to? Because if you're in the restaurant industry, you're affected. If you're, I guess, in the grocery store industry or things of that nature, it's something that I will feel that we have strength for and can build off of from previous things that we've been through, but at the same time, just adapting to the new situation, new climate of what's going on.
But black men have been experiencing trauma for a very long time. And K-Law, you just talked about some things that you didn't articulate it, but you talked about how you've been going through things this year. So how do as black men we go through this trauma with no help? We don't really go to mental health providers in the black community. The church it serves some type of outlet for black men and black people as a whole, but as far as articulating what black men go through and being specific in what black men go through, they really don't hit those points. So, Kayla, talk to me. How do especially with you going through and the support that you've received through the fraternity and through your family or the lack of support, how do black men, how do we go through this trauma and come out stronger on the other end rather than succumbing to our individual issues and not being successful at all?
So, just to give folks a little bit of my background, I do work in the food industry. So I'm one of those that's directly affected. But for the last year, I've been battling cancer. And so I've been out on leave. But, it has been a fight, not only for my life, but you also have to maintain communication with those around you. Battling cancer, it's easy to get depressed, and it's easy to find yourself fighting depression as well as fighting cancer. There are a lot of late nights where I did not sleep, woke up in cold sweats, and when I say cold sweats, I'm not talking about that I'm sweating on the pillow and I didn't woke myself up. Now the whole bed is wet like I didn't urinated on myself. But to say all of that, it's tough. I think how you deal with it is, like I said, you got to maintain communication with those around you. You got to have how do I say this? You got to have a support system that is willing to answer the phone when you call, understand that you're going to get on their nerves at times, but they're still there for you. And so if you don't have that support system, it's very easy to find yourself in a bad situation mentally. I told, and doctors don't always get it. Doctors are quick to prescribe, but they're not quick to listen. I told my doctor, I said, look, I need to talk to somebody. And my doctor, the first words came out of his mouth were, are you battling depression? Do you want to hurt yourself? I said, no, I'm not battling depression as much. And I don't want to hurt myself, but I've just gone through a traumatic experience. I mean, I've lain in the hospital for 24 hours a day, 5 days, and then have to take 2 weeks to recover before I can even eat again. you know, that's traumatic, especially when you are not used to that. So to say all of that, he wanted to prescribe me antidepressants. And he and I had a nice round in his office about why I did not need antidepressants. I just wanted to talk to somebody. So sometimes you have to over communicate, and you've got to stand up for yourself, because people will try to tell you what's best for you, but they don't know what you're going through. And I even told my mother, I say, it's different on my side of the bed. And what I mean by that is, I love her to death. You know, she helped me through, drove me to all of my appointments. But at the end of the day, she don't know what it's like to have the tubes coming from your chest.
Right.
And they changing bags every 2 hours. She don't know what that's like. So you got to stand up for yourself, because everybody thinks that they know what's best for you, but only you know what's really best for you. So, you know.
Yeah. K-Law, let me definitely applaud you on that. I'll just say I have a background in the mental health industry. With that being said, I definitely tell all or anybody who is seeing a doctor, whether it's physically or mentally, communicate about your medications, how you're feeling about your medications, and you know your body better than anybody else, even over that doctor. So I commend you, definitely. Not saying that I'm against medications, but at the same time, like I said, every individual knows their body and know what they possibly may and may not need. But knowing that at your moment in time that all you needed was someone to basically talk to, help you to learn coping skills and things of that nature, you know, you recognize that was a big step. Now, him asking you about the suicidal ideations, that is definitely one thing that he had to ask you. Now, how he asked you, can't say. We try to teach empathy, but you know, medical field is a whole different field.
Right.
So I'm gonna transition to Corey, dickhead ass, because he ain't said shit. It's tough. I mean, you like you said, Kayla, you gotta have a support system, because only those individuals know what you're going through. Corey, if I remember correctly, you were going through some stuff with your working situation back in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And as quiet as it's kept, Black men do have an issue with moving up the ladder when it comes to career and obtaining their goals, because corporate America and just city and local governments don't look at us as somebody that's ready for the job. So how did you handle the issue of being stuck in a situation where you weren't, being paid what you were worth? You couldn't really do much about it, but you couldn't transition either because of all the stuff you had to handle back in your hometown.
One thing about that particular situation, that was tough, because not only were you stuck, like back in Mississippi, you wasn't making enough money to even live, so to speak. Like you did, it's like you made enough just to pay your rent, just to get by, but you couldn't do nothing but work. So the frustrating part with that, I guess, to wheel me through that, I had a support system. I had people to talk to. I admitted that I had a problem, that I was upset about that, I was depressed about that. And I think that was the first step, admitting that you had a problem. Then after you admit the problem, you have to seek help. And even though somebody's going to tell you something you don't want to hear, it may be the right thing to do, but at the time you're not trying to hear that. And that's understandable. But I think as far as me getting through that situation, it really showed me what I'm made of as far as perseverance. I feel like if you can make it in Mississippi, you can make it through a country town, you can make it anywhere.
Because that town country.
Yeah, man.
Hey, hold on, wait. Hey, I'm not gonna let you have my home state. I'm doing me some silk. Hey, don't get me wrong now. Don't get me wrong.
It's a
It's
community.
a
Nah,
mug.
it's so long. That town country,
Listen.
Jackson country's fuck,
I
Laurel
feel-
country's
I
fuck.
feel like if you can make it out of Mississippi, you can make it anywhere. You
I'm
can
with
make
you. Hey, everybody
you
say
can-
that as far as New York and all that. Nah, homie. You gotta come from the mud, literally.
because the thing about it is in Mississippi and the Arkansas, you have less resources than people on the
Amen.
East Coast and on the West
Amen.
Coast. You have
True.
lesser opportunities. You have a smaller pond to swim in. So
Yeah.
you can make it out of that pond and swim to a bigger city such as your Houstons and your Atlantas and your DCs, and you can make it anywhere.
That's
It's-
true.
As far as navigating through corporate, it's a combination of having the knowledge but also playing the game. I hate to say that, but that's
And then who don't leave that one out.
yes.
It's definitely who you know's game too.
Exactly. So it's like if you have somebody you know, they can lead you to the water, but you have to be able to get in and swim.
Right.
When you're a black man, you don't get that carpet laid out in front of you. You just get shown the door, but you got to walk through it.
Right. And sometimes you don't get shown the door. You got to bust through that motherfucker and find it yourself.
That too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And keep in mind that when somebody does bring you on, and I used to say it when I'd be at work and folks would come to me and say, "Hey, such and such referred me here." I used to tell them all the time, "You don't owe this job to me. You owe it to that person.
Right.
You owe it to that person to do your best every day, and you also owe it to the person that you're going to recommend behind you, because we don't get second chances and third chances. It's one chance. Show me what you got. If you do all right, then you can bring somebody behind you. But at the end of the day, if you fail, I'm blaming the person ahead of you, and I'm getting rid of you."
Well, fellas, let me ask you guys this question. Since that we have kind of taken that turn towards that, what built that stereotype against black males to say that we are incapable of being able to get that vice president job immediately after graduating college, or at least doing 3 years of experience at a certain level and then getting such a high jump versus having to start off in the mailroom and then from there working your way up for the next 15, 20 years, even before you even see that level.
Carl, I'm going to play devil's advocate on that. I can't say we didn't get those opportunities. When we get those opportunities, like as collectively, we fuck up. Either it's because of women. Let's be true. Like some guys get in those positions of power, they knock down anything in the office, they flex their power around, get in some shit, and lose the position. Two, you have guys that actually get in those positions, but they try to box out every other black person that look like them that's trying to come up. So instead of you bringing somebody up there with you so somebody can help you maneuver stuff, look out for you, you stay in there by yourself, and the other people will turn on you, and you ain't got nobody to fend for you because you didn't help bring nobody up. So I can't say we didn't get it, but it's not often that we get it. But when we do get it, we fuck up. So it's tougher on people coming behind you when you fuck up. That's just how it is. That's just the hand we've been dealt. That's how it's gonna be for a while.
And sometimes you gotta be careful. I know growing up, I know for me, I was taught follow the money. I tell folks nowadays, now that I'm in my 30s, don't follow. It's not about the money. It's about peace of mind.
Amen.
It's about being able to go home with a clear conscience. And I even tell folks that work with me, if you can go home at night and you feel as though there's nothing else that you could have done for the day, then you did everything you could do.
Right.
But if you go home and you're thinking about it and you say, I could have did this, I could have done this, I could have done this better, then there's more that you could have done, and you've got to apply yourself even harder the next day.
Right.
I don't try to discourage but I try to get people to look at it from a different mindset, because a lot of times following the money will put you in a situation where you'll get run out of town quicker than you know, because all the time you thought the money was going to get you where you needed to be, but somebody was setting you up on the back end to take your position and just to show somebody else that you couldn't do it. So you gotta be careful.
Let me T still on?
Yeah, T still on.
Hey T, with you being an entrepreneur, kind of chime in on that. As far as maybe building your brand and maybe hiring African American males.
I think it's computer froze, so I'm gonna chime in, because Corey brought up a good point. Black men, when we get in leadership position, our ideologies start to shift. So I've seen several stories about Black men leadership where it's been negative, but as far as positives, we don't get that same coverage. For example, you see the stories about Jackson State president being fired for whatever he did, and then Texas Southern president being fired for whatever he did, and then previous before that, just Black men in leadership positions not making the best decisions and jeopardizing their position for flesh, basically, just making decisions to please themselves, and it hasn't worked out in their best interest. So I think that Black men, we have so many things going against us. Number one, the media, because they're going to portray every negative thing we do and not portray all of the positive. So
and I was just going to interject on that. Definitely, we're not here to vent on the wrong things,
right?
To speak on the wrong things,
right?
Also, remember that we do have Black males across the nation.
Absolutely.
If they, they're dropping that one pebble, getting somebody, that resource that they need, or in touch with whoever, or getting them hired, and hopefully creating that ripple effect. So we definitely want to big up those individuals who are reaching out and extending that arm to one person, and hopefully that person extends another arm, and so we definitely don't want to knock anybody or saying that those opportunities are not given or haven't been given. We're just saying that we need to go in even stronger with that mind frame, instead of having the crab in the barrel mentality, feeling like someone.
But I'm gonna wrap it up because we got to move to the next topic. We spent a lot of time on this topic.
Quick, before you wrap it up, I want to shout out the Education Bros in Alpha Beta. What they do in Memphis, I think that's a dope thing.
Oh yeah,
like James Gordon, Cloud, they bring each other. Cloud hiring young brothers, teachers. So I want to shout them out. I like what they're doing up there in Memphis. So that's good looking out.
What is it? South Haven, DeSoto County,
Shelby County.
Not just Memphis, because we got Carl, James Gordon, all of them in Memphis. Then we have Dallas Bros doing
E-Ball,
across the nation doing things in education, not just education, but specifically education. Making sure that they touch younger brothers and built up the right way. Because
and I'm gonna put it this way too. I'm gonna speak on somebody who's definitely not, a bro, but I know he's in the school system doing some T. Broomfield. I'll just say that much. He out there doing big things in the Terry Farm area.
And let me give a shout out in the food industry to John White. He is a Sigma, but he's not Alpha Beta. But John White gave young brothers like me an opportunity, and he's still giving opportunities in his vice presidency role. So shout out to John.
No problem. So I'm gonna transition to this last topic because we've been on for a pretty long time with that one topic. Maybe we might do two more topics, but is social media the place for relationships? Like, should you put your relationship, all aspects of your relationship, the cheating, the good, the bad, the ugly, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth? Because we've seen those relationships where they've been torn down and ugly as hell, and they're posted on Facebook for everyone to comment on. I'm gonna keep going, but we've seen those successful relationships not posted at all, and they're doing what's best for their household. And as a Black man, what do you consider peace in your household? Should you post your relationship on social media for the world to see, or should you keep it personal and do what's best for your household?
Now I'm gonna say this. Now, do we want to start with in the bros that are, you know, I don't know, you know, how we gonna determine, but
I mean,
we start with the nun attack.
it's hold on before we start. T Hearn, just go back to your email, sign back in, and I'll put you back in. Ain't gonna be no issue. But it's already public. Like, if you want to start with the bros, we can.
I want to start with.
Hold on. Let's ease into it. We go start in my situation first. All right?
That's what I'm saying, right?
Let's ease into it. Now, as far as me and my fiance, we kind of it's not that we don't believe in putting our information on social media. We both feel like, and we felt like this before we even talked about it. We felt like this as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
We just feel like the world shouldn't have to know about your intimate moments. They shouldn't have to know about your disagreements, your highs, your lows. That's nobody's business but mine and hers. So I'm glad we agree on that. It's not my style, but I feel like if you put your relationship on social media, if you're trying to monetize it, if you're trying to get a reality show or whatever it is, do what you got to do, you know. But at the same time, when you open that door, don't be surprised when everybody, that people you don't even know, chime in. You can't get mad when people chime in because you open the door. So it's like, you know, it's not my style. Like, I've always been a private person. I don't believe in putting who I'm dating on social media, because I just believe that we got stuff we got to work out, and that ain't none of y'all motherfucking business what we got going on.
Right.
So I feel like once we let people in our business, it's gonna be hard for us to, you know, become one. So that's how I feel about me. Now, as far as the general public, I feel like you can't resolve a disagreement or issue if you have everybody on your social media feed chiming in on it. It's impossible.
Hey, at your wedding, they gonna say, let no man or woman or social media come between you and your.
Everybody gonna stand up.
But I told people before I even got engaged, I was like, you're gonna see two pictures of my whole life. You're gonna see the one we first when we get engaged, and the one where we have had our wedding. That's it.
Right.
But that's how I feel about it. But I'm different. I'm kind of a introvert when it comes to social media. So there are more outgoing people that's their thing, and that's cool. I'm not judging it one way or another. That's your thing. Do you? But I will say it's cons to it. That's all I say.
All right.
Crow, try me, because I feel like you put everything on social media. The time you in a relationship, the time you get engaged, all your problems, the time you get married, your problems in your marriage, up until the time you say, okay, I might get a divorce, to the time you divorce. That's a lot. Like, Crow, what you think? Like, that's a lot. Like, should you really be putting all that on social media?
For me, I will definitely be honest with you guys. I don't have a social media as far as IGs and all that stuff. I used to work with some kids once. They once created me a Snapchat and all that, but I deactivated. But I do have a Facebook, but have not posted it forever. Now, with that being said, I could see why some may run to social media, and the reason why may be for this generation, or we have come accustomed to likes or attention. So that is immediate attention. That is somebody, whether they're disagreeing or agreeing with me, I'm getting attention. Someone is listening to me. I'm allowed to vent at that moment in time.
Right.
Because my wife, my spouse, my mama probably tired of hearing this. my sister, my brother, my girlfriend. So I can go to social media and ain't nobody stopping me from typing these characters and whatever else I put up there. Now, at the same time, doing that, you can't get mad when somebody tells you something that you don't agree with. Now, for me, I've had those moments in my head. I would say, man, if I had a fucking Twitter, got D, if I was logging on Facebook right now, boy, ooh, if I was one of those some bitches, I promise you I would some. But then at the same time, the man in me is like, no, G, we don't rock like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to hold yourself accountable. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some respect for yourself because at the end of the day, like I was telling Corey, even before your marriage, you know what I'm saying? You can't let nothing come or anyone come in between. And when you open up that door, you allowing that. And I can say it's not social media, but I have allowed personally people to come in between my relationships that I have been in by bending to the wrong individuals. You get what I'm saying? And so you have to be careful about that. So with social media, you're venting to everybody. So whether wrong or right, so when it's personal, you learn just face to face type, like, okay, I can't vent to this person anymore. But social media, you don't know who in the hell putting your business out there and who in the hell gonna come at you.
Who screenshotting the conversations or the live feed or the comments.
And that stuff could be used against you in a court of law for divorce. This stuff could be used against you towards your kids, towards your family members. Because in a time of vent, we're angry, we're upset, we're frustrated, and we have to learn how to vent properly versus going, you know what I'm saying, going to the social medias and spilling opening up the buffet line, basically.
Yeah. How the technology person and his Wi-Fi keep going out. Your trash ass. I'm about to go to you.
Well, you know, T probably running about 15 supercomputers over there.
And how the fuck you the technology person? Your Wi-Fi going out. Like what?
K-Law, what's your experience? What's your thought on this, sir?
You know, my mama always told me, say, you got to clean your room before you can invite folks over.
Yeah.
So, that country talk.
No, it's straight out of Belzano, Humphreys County.
Yeah. I'll tell you. So, you know, in saying that, you know, you got to be able to, again, communicate with your spouse or significant other, whomever that might be. And you've got to be, you have to be able to trust that person. I think that's where we mess up a lot of times. We get into relationships because it's, as Black men, it's a fat ass, some nice titties, but we don't get to know the mind, and at the end of the day, we don't trust the person outside of sex.
That comes with experience.
And half the time we don't trust them in that. So, you know, you just got you really have to learn that person and trust that person, that they won't put you in a precarious situation. I'm new to the relationship game again. Thanks, cancer. But you know, I tell a woman in a heartbeat, I need you to respect the relationship. I don't need my business out there in the street. And what I share with you is between me and you, not me, you, and the rest of the world.
But I also think that has to do with who you date, because certain generations use social media differently, especially with what the goals they're trying to do. Like if you're trying to reach a certain population because you have goals when it comes to like put out a brand or build a business and so forth, you're going to put pretty much every aspect of your life on social media.
Exactly. And some people actually, you know, they came up off of that. And it appears they're doing good, and, you know, shout out to them. But I just feel like...
but is it worth it?
That's what I was going to say. I don't think it's worth it.
Let's also remember this. Before social media, you had, and I remember going to the beauty shop with my mama every Friday. That was the social media for a woman, to be honest. You go to a beauty shop every Friday, homie. You hear everything.
Or a barbershop.
Or barbershop.
Same thing with the barbershop. So that's that was that even now, that feel like you are allowed to vent. It's just what platform or who you choose to vent to.
Mm-hmm.
And do they have your best interest when you're venting to them?
Most
That's the whole thing.
Bringing it back full circle, because the title of the page is Men Need to Vent Too. What, in your opinion, is the best outlet for Black men when it comes to their relationship? Should they put everything on social media? Or should they have a conversation with their spouse and say, hey, because let's be honest,
you with your woman, your man, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you with your woman, your man, homie, that's you don't go to no social media. I'm sorry, G. That's in my eyes, that's weak. I've been to my chick all day long and be like, hey, you need to pick up this motherfucking phone. Hey, I'm missing you. Hey, I love you. That's you gonna have 1,000,001 text messages before you have 1,000,001 posts or me going live 114 times going about my relationship. You're gonna be like, girl, I'm tired of this nigga texting me and calling me versus seeing him post.
Yeah, it's communication is up there with sex and respect as far as on a list of what it takes to have a successful relationship. And
I would argue it's higher.
Yeah, it's higher. Not just communication, effective communication.
Yeah.
Like
healthy. Sir. Healthy.
Like you have to know how to talk when you're pissed. Like you can't come in the room aggressive and loud. When you have to be able to sit down and take the time you need to relax and effectively communicate. Like I don't like why you did this, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't like it. I don't like, you can't do this going forward, or we're not going to work, blah, blah, blah. You have to have those conversations. If you don't have those conversations, then it's like, it's not going to work out in the long term. And you
now,
also,
I'm going to ask this question.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You also, one thing as a man, you also, and I struggled with this at one point in time in my life, you can't let everything build up. You have to address it when it first happens. If you let everything build up, you're going to explode on your girl, and that's not cool. So you have to, if she do something that pissed you off, or she did something you felt like that was disrespectful.
Let me interject, Corey. Can we also use the term spouse, because we definitely don't want to offend?
Yeah. Well, your spouse, and if your wife. Yeah,
that's the mental health in me.
Girlfriend, yeah, that's cool. You're right, but it's like if your wife, your fiance, girlfriend, if she did something to piss you off, you take the time you need to cool down, so you won't be coming at her as an angry man. So once you're cool, calm, and relaxed, that's when you address the situation. But it has to be within a 2-day span while it's fresh. It can't be a week from now, because you're going to come off aggressive as a motherfucker. So that's important.
Now, ain't turning in my brain, but go ahead, Kayla.
Well, that's actually where I was about to go to, is when that spouse of yours, that significant, pisses you off, how do you handle that? Because a lot of times we as Black men revert to what we've seen over the years. Like my dad and mom, they argue all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I see my dad do is pick up his keys and walk out the door.
Yeah.
But I don't get to see that conversation afterward to reconcile the situation. So,
Now, let me say this. How do you deal with that mentally? Now, as Black men, let's be honest. From day one, when we got around our dads, our uncles, whatever male reared us, whether it was the homies in the hood, and you didn't have daddy at home, the first thing when you first felt pain around a male, the first thing they told you to do was stop crying, suck that shit up. I'm gonna give you something to cry about. Even the Black woman who raised you will turn towards you and tell you, hey, you better shut up. Hey, you better suck that crying up. I ain't raising no punk. So as little young Black boys, we never learn how to process emotions, feelings, that sadness. So everything that we encountered from that taller stage all the way up until now, we always go aggressive or angry because we don't know how to process sadness. We don't know how to express when we're frustrated and tell someone you have truly hurt my feelings, because then we feel vulnerable. We feel like that punk that they told us we were like at 3 years old, at 5 years old, that we won't get punched in the chest at 8 years old. That's that problem. That's why when we get into these relationships with these black women or whoever our spouse is, and it's time to feel that sadness that they've hurt us with or that frustration, we go directly to rah, rah, rah. That's why.
Mm.
So to wrap this up, bring it full circle. How do we as black men express our feelings when we've been in a vulnerable situation and say, hey, this has hurt me. This is what we need to do moving forward to our black women so that we can have a successful relationship when we've been taught by our uncles, by our dads, by the barbershop, by our moms, do not express feelings that make you seem less than a man.
You have to, at some point in your life, recognize when you're grown. I don't know when you hit that stage,
Mm-hmm.
but speaking personally for myself, it took me a minute, and I had to seek therapy counseling for that, due to a lot of events that I went through in my life growing up. And so I couldn't process those sad feelings. It all really boiled to a head when my mom passed. And that was a very traumatic experience because my mom passed away in my arms. And so for me, I just even throughout college, you guys kind of knew me as kind of aggressive, things of that nature, because I wasn't able to process. So so talking with my hands. So I'll say probably 32, 33, it kind of boiled to a head. And I realized either I was going to put myself in a predicament where I was going to hurt someone or hurt myself. And so I had to learn how to be vulnerable. I had to revisit a lot of situations and traumas in my life with with my therapist, and that helped me kind of relive some things. I know people say therapist is, a short term for the rapist. You know what I'm saying? If you really spell it, that's what it say. But at the same time, to me, that's negative thinking. You need someone to help you to learn coping skills, to help you through those situations, or you won't never learn how to process them because you didn't process them correctly at that moment in time. And anytime an event or a situation takes you back to that age you felt that trauma or that event, you're going to act that age or at that moment in time. So my 36-year-old self can revert back to 15-year-old Marcus if somebody takes me to a situation I had at 15. But if I know how to cope now at the age I am, 15-year-old teenage Marcus should stay where he at. And I should be able to, 36-year-old Marcus should be present and be able to say, hey, this is how we're going to talk this out. These are the solutions.
So I'm gonna go to K-Law. So how do we as black men deal with those issues and say, hey, maybe what my parents, my uncles, the barbershop was saying was wrong. I need to deal with these issues now so that I don't transcend and put these issues off on somebody else and break off the relationship.
I think first off, you have to know yourself. And I've learned myself, I am at the 33-year-old stage now.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned myself even more through this battle over the last year. And like Crowley said, I've learned to be vulnerable, but keep that wall up. So, a lot of times, once we realize that something is wrong, then first we have to say, okay, we have to acknowledge that it's wrong. We a lot of times we don't even acknowledge that it's wrong. We just be like, oh, that ain't right.
Mhm.
You just talk. But we don't acknowledge that it's actually. So once you do that, then you can start to build strategic inferences to deal with that situation and to change that situation. I didn't agree with all of the parenting that my folks did, but I have a son, and I have to make sure that I don't revert to those that I've seen.
You got a son?
I do. He's
I didn't know.
Come on,
He's fine.
Swift, catch up to the race.
I
I
didn't
didn't know Swift, and you behind on a race.
better start pulling out.
Come on, Swift, catch up to the race.
But hold on. I'm gonna finish with this last point because Kayla said that you have to recognize sometimes you're wrong. Like sometimes the things we've learned is wrong. Core, how do we recognize that the things that we learned from our parents, our barbershop is wrong at such a late age? How do we put this in our younger youth and say, hey, what they're telling you, no, that's not right. You can be a man and still cry. You can be a man and still be vulnerable and deal with those emotions and those issues so that you can be a better spouse for the person that you're dating. Like how do we do that?
I guess it's gonna take I guess representation as far as teaching it to kids. I believe representation matters. So you can't tell them something and don't have a large amount of people for them to view that's displaying what you say they should do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the challenging part about it. And it's like one thing about how and that's not to talk down on our parents and our grandparents. I'm not I guess defending their actions, but hearing some of the things and witnessing some of the things they went through, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that our generation is in a better place than they were when they were in their 30s and when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's important to acknowledge that we're in different times compared to them. So it's also important that we continue to, I guess, not just say these things, but actually implement it and practice it. And it's going to take time. It's not going to be an overnight process, but it's going to take time.
Mm-hmm.
And like Kayla and Crowley said, that we have to be willing to be vulnerable, and being vulnerable with somebody is not easy. It's a gamble. You're probably going to get burnt, but at least you can look back after everything that's happened and say, okay, I was vulnerable. I showed my emotions, and they probably didn't interpret it how I wanted it to, but I don't have no regrets, and I can move on peacefully.
And you're not less of a man because
you're less of a man. That's
vulnerable. You are more of a man because you actually opened up.
Right.
So I'm gonna wrap this up with this last topic.
Hold on.
Because what you said is representation matters, and social science teaches us that we learn our ideologies, our attitudes, our biases from three social institutions: the church, the school, and the family. With this COVID-19, the school is taken out. A lot of our teachers, a lot of our principals that influence the way our Black men think, behave, and our ideologies, they're taken out. So how do Black men in the face of the coronavirus, the COVID-19, how should we respond to those individuals who we were trying to reach through the school, but we no longer have their reach now because they're taken out of the school system? I wish Claude was here, this big-headed, bald-headed ass.
I want to say something.
But how do we reach these? Because the parents may not be the best individuals to teach these Black men what they need to be successful in life. Like, that's just reality. So I'm gonna start with Crowley. For these Black men, these Black males in the school system who have been taken out of the school system, how do we influence these Black males to be better than what they are currently?
I'll put it this way. I had an encounter in my neighborhood, and that's why I was raising my hand. And it wasn't so much, and it's not so much on the educational tip. with on the COVID-19, but it will push to where I'm going to, or going to the education tip. So it was nighttime in my neighborhood, and it's an abandoned house in my neighborhood, and it's fairly close to my house. So it's dark outside. I hear some talking, but I know all my neighbors should be in the house because I know my neighbors. I know they're, we know each other. So all of a sudden I walk outside. It's a group of young men standing at the abandoned house. No lights at the house, but it's pitch black under this house, under the porch. So I walk over. I say, "Excuse me, gentlemen." I said, "Can I help you guys?" One of them say to me, "Nah, we good." Like I'm a waiter or something. So I'm like, "No, I'm asking you, can I help you? Because this home is, it's vacant at this moment in time.
Right.
No one lives here, so why are you guys here?" So one of the guys asked me, and I'm dead serious. My little sister was on the phone at the time. No, he not so much asked. He made a statement. He said, "Why are you acting like a white man?" When I tell you guys, right hand raised. My response to him was, "Young man, if me protecting my fellow young black males and trying to keep you guys out of trouble, trying to get you guys home to your mom, your dad, or whoever your guardian is, trying to tell you guys to get and go study, even though school is out, because this is before they started the online stuff for all the schools. But go study and do something. It's going to take a community. You can't be afraid to check someone's child now. I'm just being honest. I told him, you didn't go get your mama, your daddy, your grandma. You can, just like you came up this street, you can march down and march them right back up there to come talk to me 101.
Right.
If you have such a problem. But I told him I wasn't going to argue with kids, but I would prefer to talk to the grown-ups.
Right.
But my thing, they did have respect enough to leave. Even though they had words to say walking down the street, I didn't respond back to them because they are children, they're teenagers. But it's more so we're going to have to speak up and not be scared anymore, whether they are 17, 18, 20 with their pants down in line. Pull your pants up. Things of that nature. That's all. We got to stop being afraid. We are the grown men, and we're letting these young teenagers punk us on some real stuff.
So, Core, I'm going to go to you. The thing he said was community. It takes the community to raise a child. You can't be afraid of these 15, 16, even younger than that. So how do we build that community? Because we have some parents who are having kids at 23, 24, 25, and they think that you can't tell their kids anything. So how do we build that community again and really help our black males in a time when they really need it? That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope because you have some people that believe that their kids never wrong, so they get all teachers hell. But I guess my aspect of it is I feel like you can't reach every kid, and that's a real thing to say. But I feel like there are a lot of youth auxiliary groups in our community already. Like, of course, we have the Sigma Betas, and you have other fraternities that have theirs. 100 Black Men in each respective city has outreach programs. So I feel like that's the best way to gradually help those in need. I feel like some young boys gonna have to bump their heads to like really get a clear understanding on what they were shown and what they were taught wasn't the right way to carry themselves. But I feel like the best thing we can do is continue to, volunteer with these youth auxiliary groups, whether it's through the churches, through the fraternities, the elementary schools, because we got to touch as many as we can. We're not going to touch everybody, and it's just the realistic part of it, because it's just some people don't want to be helped, and some people, even the parents don't want you helping their kids. That's just the reality of it. So, but I feel like if we can help 25% out of the 100%, I think we carried enough ground for that
Yeah.
particular cycle. Of
I
course, now we
don't know
want to continue to grow that margin, but
But Corey, let me interject for a minute. Why not?
before you interject, Crowley, let's get K-Law in because he's been
Okay.
with some issues. So one of the things Corey said, we can't reach everybody, but we have the Sigma Betas, we have the Newts, we have Omega Psi Phi, we have 100 Black Men, we have all these.
What you telling me? If you okay, let's say we'll take one black male. Let's just say that black male who told me F you, this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, hey, I still love you, my young brother. If you need anything, this, that, and the other, pull up your hands. So let's say he passed Corey, you, and K-Law. If he hear that 4 times, you don't think at one point it's gonna be like, man, maybe I'm doing something wrong, to whereas I might need to correct. Because if I'm going, you get what I'm saying? If you have enough of it, and sooner or later, you money.
I get what you're saying because you're gonna hear the same thing repetitively, but I'm just thinking the people who I grew up with. The people who I grew up with, they had teachers, they had people in the community, they had people in the church, they even had people in their family that told them the same thing, and they still went down the wrong path. That's why I said that it's a possibility that some kids are not going to resonate with that information. Now, I would want that to happen, of course, but like realistically, it's a possibility it's not going to happen.
We got teens having kids at 19, 18, 17, and you can't tell they kids shit. We got schools who can't do nothing with these kids. But we have black organizations headed by black men that can really change the lives of these students and these black males who are 15, 16, even younger than that. What can we do together? Because it still takes the community to raise a child. So if a black child come to me and say, hey, Mr. Ward, fuck you, I'm not doing nothing you say. Come to Corey and say, fuck you. We're professionals. I'm not doing nothing you say because I'm not going to do this or whatever. So I'm coming to you, fuck you. I'm not listening to nothing you say. And then you come to Carl and say, fuck him, listen to you. Carl, you say, you're not fuck me. I gotta beat your ass. You don't listen to me. And this is why the reason you should listen to me, because if you don't, you're gonna end up in jail or you're gonna end up dead. Or I'm gonna beat your ass. Because honestly, in the past, that's what it was. If our mama didn't beat our ass, our auntie beat our ass. If our auntie didn't beat our ass, our next door neighbor, who was our third grade English teacher, beat our ass.
But let's be real. I got
you missing
one
thing.
You
missing one important thing. People are not whooping ass anymore. you missing that. It's a good point. You're right.
Go ahead, K-Law. We just skipped all over the law.
So having both parents as teachers, everything sounds great. You know, we've got the organizations out, but when you're in an area where those don't reach, like Belzona, Lake Village, for instance, you've got to go a different route, and usually that's where the churches step in.
Fair,
because the churches will step in and host some type of event to get the kids together. But what's happening is, especially in the Delta and in rural areas, you have a lot of people that are leaving and not coming back. And so I've done it many times. Left, I found myself coming back, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that are gone that just haven't come back, and the population is not the population of those that can do something is not per se there. So then you've got to think outside the box, because especially in Belzona, you got mamas and daddies working 3, 4, 5 jobs trying to support their kids, and their kids out fucking from 3 to 7. Just being real. That's how you end up with 13, 14, 15-year-olds having babies.
Yeah.
So what's ending up we've got to find a way to find something for them to do. And
That's
online schooling may help, but up here ain't no online. These folks ain't got no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And if you got Wi-Fi, they consider you to be rich
Yeah.
because you got Wi-Fi. So with that being said, we've got to be constructive. And it's not just Sigma Beta, it's not just Kappa League or Alpha Bows. We got to all come together.
Right.
As the NPHC, as the community, as the church, as Black folks in general. We got to come together.
Now, let me ask you this. Okay, you saying we got to come together. So I'm going to play devil's advocate. You know, I'm from around the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you saying church come together and your educators coming together. I got, there's the hood homies. Are you going to allow them to also come in and do their part?
Yep.
That will be the thing. Are you going to constantly shine them because they wear a certain color or kick their hat a certain way, even though they can be beneficial and educational to the kids?
Exactly.
And provide certain knowledge that you as a church member or you as an educator, because you didn't grow up through them hard times like they have or still are coming through. Now, you may have to bit or check them on some of the things that they talk about, but are you willing to allow that aspect too?
I have no problem with that. Back in the 60s, when the Crips first started, Crips stood for Community Resistance and Progress. The Bloods called themselves the Bloods because they looked at each other. They were like, you got my blood, I got your blood, we got each other back. What's going on? I have nothing against them coming together as long as they're willing to come together and not fight each other in the in training our young folks to be productive citizens and understanding that at the end of the day, we all we got out here. And we got to do the best that we can to move forward. I have no qualms with that. But we got to make sure that we got the right mindset before we step in the door and say, I'm not going to say nothing crazy to you because it's not about me and you right now. It's about us training these young folks to be better.
I think it's important that they step. I don't think you should shun away any Black man from any different path of life, because these kids think shit sweet out here. Like, they don't know, like, once you get in that cell, it's a wrap. You gotta get on somebody tell you get up. You gotta keep your head on a swivel. You gotta like make sure you're not disrespecting anybody. You gotta keep your guard up. And I feel like you need somebody that's experienced that to be able to teach that to somebody, because kids, like, they really think shit sweet. It's like kids 21, 22, 15, 17, 18 throwing their life away, or 10 to 20 years of their life away for carrying a gun or shooting somebody or even drugs. It's like you need somebody that went down that path or knew somebody close to them that went down that path, so they can tell them, look, man, I can't tell you what to do, but I'll tell you what will happen if you continue to walk down that path.
That bigger picture. You need someone that's been either in jail because of a drug or a gun charge, or someone who don't have their dad in their home. They can tell you that if you don't go to church or if you're selling drugs out in the streets, what you're going through if you drop out of school, because the outcome has not been great for Black men. Like we have Black men serving 30 and 40 years in jail for drug charges, but we have white and other individuals who are making money off of drugs because of their ethnicity. So there is some discrimination in there, and as a Black man, that's a reality you got to deal with. So we need those Black men to come back and say, "Hey, I've been through what you're trying to do currently. It is not going to work out."
But what are we doing to create new facets for them to not want to go into that aspect of that lifestyle? You get what I'm saying? Are we going to create the new Silicon Valleys for these individuals to, instead of them going to, I guess, I see the TKOs and all that, Why can't, we create or have someone to create platforms, or they create their own platforms in a way? They got to get this creative energy that they're using already and do greater things with it.
I
So I'm
think
gonna leave with this.
So-
Before y'all start, because we over an hour now.
Okay.
How do we as black men, as Phi Beta Sigma, as Alpha Phi Alpha, as Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, the church, Vice Lords, Crip, Blood, come together for our black men and say, hey, what you are doing currently is not going to pan out. Here's a better alternative for you. Let's stick together and make sure that you complete your goals and be better off to where you're not in jail or dead. I think that's the goal, because as black men, we can see through the media, through the government, through our local communities, we are all we got. Period. So we have to stick together. But how is we as adult black men who have had these rivalries and these gang ties, and we see other individuals as the enemy, how do we come together and say, hey, the youth, this is what you need to do to be successful, and we're going to make sure that it happens because we're going to provide the outlet. I think that's
So-
what we do.
one
So
thing.
what we
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead,
what
go
we've
ahead.
started here,
Okay.
what we started here in Belzona, we started the Boys and Girls Club,
Mhm.
and we started it with football for the young men, and I'm actually working right now on a culinary piece. I want to do a barbecue competition. I've got the spot already set up, but just to give them a view of something different.
Mhm.
You've got to expose kids to something different. Otherwise, they'll never know. And so, trying to get them the exposure here, and even if I can't per se take them out of their situations, I can at least show them while they're in this situation, hey, there's something else here. You can get yourself out of here through this, whether it's sports, whether it is culinary, whether it's
Right.
auto
You have
mechanic.
an outlet to make out of your situation.
Right. There are avenues.
Right.
So, and what we've done is I've gone to guys that don't have anything to do,
Right.
and hey, help me out, And when a lot of times, a lot of folks won't help you because you just don't ask.
Right.
So to just ask somebody, they'll be willing to help you. And if they're not, they'll be able to send you to somebody who can. That's what I've learned over the time that I've been here. We just you gotta ask.
That's true, but that's true. Like, you do have to ask for help. But one thing about the kids that we have to like be real and teach them is that there's no shortcut. You have to be willing to put in the work, and it's like all of us, we grind to get where we at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Grind those late night study sessions in school, graduate school, coming up as an entry level job. Crowley, you start in the mail room at Jackson State to where you at now. It wasn't an overnight process. Like, you have to really grind, and you have to really hang in there during the tough times, and so pay your dues, so to speak. Because I'm just gonna be honest, it's not like you're going to hop off the stage after high school or college and walk into a job without making a lot of money. Now, some people do that, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to be willing to persevere through the long times and really stick with it and see the fruits of your labor. I think our kids want the short way, the easy way. They want the quick money, but the quick money not the good money. You in it for the long money, and you in it for the residual money, because the long money is the residual money.
Especially with this corona situation going on, there's people that's losing their jobs left and right who can't pay their bills for April. They may get kicked out because they have these short-term jobs, or they doing things that don't bring in that residual income.
Yeah.
So now they stuck. So
But this is the time where they should be shining an example for their kids, to show them perseverance, to show them creative ways to bring in money besides, the hustle, to truly be honest.
right.
You know, sometimes you got to humble yourself to do certain jobs, and I had to learn that. Put that pride aside. You know, even you know, you just got to do that in order. And you're gonna teach your child some, and you're gonna teach yourself some during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because like right now, I need a haircut. I'm pretty sure it's thousands of black men in Houston that need a haircut. But the CDC said if you're not an essential business, you're not open. And guess what? These barbershops not open. If you selling drugs, these people not working. Guess what? You're not bringing in the income. So if you need to really figure out what is the best outlet for you to make money that's going to bring you money residually. And honestly, hold on. We need to understand what residual income means to begin with. So that financial literacy is definitely important. Corey, I'm going to bring it to you at a later date.
Yeah, I was just about to say that we'll be here for another 4 hours.
But we need to learn these things because we're behind the 8 ball. White men, Asian men, all these other individuals, all these other ethnicities, they've had it down for centuries.
Yep.
We've had it. Now, don't say that we never had it. We had it.
Agreed. Yeah, I can agree with you.
We giving it away.
Right.
We've let others borrow it.
Right.
You know, and we've lost it ourselves. So
it's time to bring it back.
So it's time to. There you go.
Bring it
there
back.
You go.
Yeah. I agree. So that's what we're trying to work towards now. I think that black men, we need to understand our struggle, understand how to get out of the struggle and come together so that we can help each other out. I think that's what we need to get to.
Okay.
Regardless of all our differences, blood, crib, vice lord, sigma, alpha,
south, north, west, United States.
It really don't matter. These people don't care about that. You can't.
Your hood ain't tougher than my hood.
Right. So that's what we're going to. So for next time, I don't know what next time is, but we have a lot more to discuss. This has been a great opening session, and I want to just open it up to close out any comments you have on anything that we talked about tonight. Just what you think should be left with the people that's watching or will watch moving forward. I'm gonna start off with Kalon.
Just one last thing, you know, hey, consider yourself an asset, not a liability to these people out here in these streets. You know, like we said, we all we got. So don't shun yourself from being an asset to somebody else, because you don't know what they may have or what you may have to help them. So be an asset and not a liability.
Corey?
One thing that I want to point out is that, for one, well, two things I want to point out. One, you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You can't be afraid to not let somebody in to help you and navigate you through whatever you're going through. And also, I want to plug in that as far as men, black men in particular, we have to vent to ourselves. Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpen iron. So I think that it's very important that we keep that perspective on, you know, in our everyday lives and our future path. So with that being said, that we can't be yes men to the people who vent to us and to our inner circle. If you're doing something wrong, brother, I'm gonna tell you you're doing something wrong, and I expect for you to do the same to me. So that's how we move forward and gradually right some of the wrongs that's been going on in our lives.
Right.
And for me, I definitely just want to tell everybody or preach self-care. That goes for mental, physical, financial, emotionally, just self-care for oneself, of understanding oneself, just not accepting what state you're in if you know it's a negative state and it's not going to lead you anywhere positive or healthy. As Corey stated, put yourself around individuals who are trying to uplift themselves. That way iron can sharpen iron. As K-Law stated, just more so, you know, just make sure you just surround yourself as a create yourself as an asset and not a liability, and you know, you'll help your family and your community grow.
And I'm gonna say that back to what we said a long time ago, black men, you are not always right. There is absolutely no issues with going outside and saying, hey, you need help. Because we all need help, especially growing financially or in our career, whatever it may be. Just please seek help if you need help, because we have to stand up for each other because nobody else is going to help us out, period. End of story. So we have to be a community. We have to help each other out. And I don't think there's anything wrong with seeking those individuals out that can help us on our journey to being successful, whatever the success may look like. Period. Point blank. And with that, I am going to wrap it up. It has been a great discussion. I will post a update on when we will go live. I think Paul Trash Ass has finally checked in. I don't know what he's been doing all night. That's one of my concerns. Big ball head ass. But I think that for the next time, we may have a little bit more focus on the
Hey, mute him. Hey, Swift, mute him. Whatever Claude got going on, there's a whole lot of.
He got the TV on. That's what he's showing it.
Claude and the old head happy hour.
Right? He muted. So next time we will be having some more things to talk about regarding black men, because it's important that black men realize we need to do better. Period. We all can do better, but black men, especially for our community support, the individuals we support, we need to do better. We need to have that help to do better. So there it is. And also, Alpha Beta is the greatest chapter, greatest fraternity on earth. Period. Point blank. No discussion. Alpha Beta is the best.
Much love, everybody out there in the world. Y'all stay clean, stay safe. Try to remember social distance as best as possible. Keep your mental health strong during this time of being with your family or either being by yourself. One love to everybody out there.
Y'all please be safe, and I will talk to y'all on another day. We will let y'all know when we go live. Peace.
Peace.